Hello everybody, Thomas Fleming here. Well, I'm getting back closer to home and to surroundings that I'm familiar with. I guess that's what this video is about. My life lessons applied to this video channel. The only place I could have gone if I would have traveled out west that I was familiar with would have been California and a little bit of northern Nevada. And apparently they're not going to be faring too well lately, so I guess it's better off if I stay away from there. For my viewers that are out there, and a few of you have made comments, I pray that you are sustained until we get out of here. I can't give you any predictions because nobody knows. The normal people who normally predict are being rather silent because they thought they had it for sure, and it's not. I have to think that it's got to be this year, just the speed at which everything's happening, but even I don't know. I'm just looking at the way the world is failing. My last video, I talked about them trying to condition us for things coming up. If you've ever heard or listened to Charles Schwab, and I mispronounce it on purpose so it doesn't hit the filters, one of his chants that he likes to come out with is, you're going to have nothing and be happy. So if you own a car, they're going to take it away or make it unusable, I guess. A car without gas is a lawn ornament. I'm just kind of looking around. It's pretty quiet here. I have a little lake behind me. I try to stay near water, and that's what parks tend to do anyway, is they try to get to someplace picturesque. I've got some geese out in the lake. I heard them fly in earlier. They flew over my tent. We had a storm go through, so the temperature's a little bit colder this morning, but it is warming up. It's one of those times of years in Georgia where I'm back, where in the morning it can be cold and in the evening or afternoon it can be hot. So you dress in layers and have a place to take things off and then put them back on as it gets cold again. I was thinking I need to do a cooking video, so maybe at my next spot. The thing is, I have to not be moving so quickly and so much because I have to be able to buy all the food, have it there, make the meal, and not be fighting the weather. So we just have to wait and see what happens. I'm trying to think of which one of my meals would be good because that's the other thing. If I cook a big meal, which you almost need to do to be able to do it right, I'm going to be eating that for a few days. There's a young couple leaving. I don't know where they're from, but they've got Georgia plates. Nice people. I tell about my hidden campsite, but I don't tell everybody. And I got to talk to them about this channel and about my videos, so that's every opportunity. Find a way to interject Jesus into the conversation. People, for the most part, good people, will at least let you bring up the topic. They may not want to talk about it, but they'll at least let you bring up the topic. So you're fishing. You throw out your bait, and if you get a nibble, you stay in that area. We get to be fishers of men. And in this day and age, got to throw a lot of them back. Not ready, Jesus. Give them to me when they are. Because see, it's never our job to save anybody. All we're supposed to do is present the information. We don't have the Spirit in us in the way that we would command it to go out and do things. That's not how the Spirit works. That's how the world wants you to think the Spirit is. There at our beck and call, will do whatever we ask it to do. No. We're there for the Spirit, not the other way around. If the Spirit wants us to do something, He'll put us in the right spot, give us what we need, and say, go ahead and do it. We don't ever do things on our own. That's the lie that Satan tells everybody. That's why we have, quote, religions like Scientology. It's not a religion unless it's about money. If money's their God, it's a religion. They should never have been given tax-exempt status as a religion because they really aren't. I just realize I'm getting cold because I'm standing in the shade. All right, staying back on topic, and I'll do a little bit of a study at the end of this. When things get tough, would you rather be someplace you're totally unfamiliar or someplace that you're totally familiar? Now, with a few exceptions, I mean, I could have gone to California, but I was told by God not to. I think technically at my age, I've been here in Georgia longer than I was out west, so I guess this is my current home. But I grew up out there. I spent a lot of time there. I know where things are at, things that are interesting to see. But they're in the process of getting hit with multiple waves of storms. And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of flooding. In Southern California, those expensive homes that are up on the hills in like Pacific Palisades, I don't even know if my aunt's old home is still there because it was on the banks. It probably fell in years ago. I don't know. She's long gone, along with my mom and dad. Everybody's, I'm old. It's just the way things are. I hope this wind isn't a problem. I found my microphone. I just need to put it on and wear it. Sometimes I do these impromptu videos where I don't have a plan really, just an idea, and then I just kind of want to talk about it. And so that's what I've done. I can hear the air conditioning units. There's a building down there, some kind of you can have weddings, birthday parties, whatever, you can rent those things out. I didn't really go for a hike here. It's prettier when the leaves are full. I've been walking around camp. But I'm familiar here. When I booked this site, I knew which campsite to pick. And that's helpful. I know where to go to get food. That's helpful. Gas, all the things that I need, I know where to go. I highly recommend that if you're going to get gas in your car, that you keep it filled up. Don't let it get below a half a tank, because at some point in time, our fearless leader is going to cut us off. And I understand now that he has completely depleted our national reserves, and his party didn't let us buy gas at $24 a barrel, that they're anxiously waiting to get out there and buy it at $80 a barrel. You have to laugh at it. It is so blatantly destructive. I don't know any other word. I'm not even sure why he's buying any more natural reserve. He wants us to fail so that when they collapse everything, I guess he knows that if he completely collapses our government without a plan to go forward, that there'd be nothing left to be president of. But we have to cease to be a free nation. That programming, remember from the last video. If things are tough, they can keep nudging them tougher, and you can learn to live with it. That's what this type of regime does. It's called nudge. I've talked about this many times. It's the frog in the boiling water. You can't just throw us right in, we jump right out, and then we go and kick their butt, because we still have our guns. I'm not promoting this, I'm somewhat being sarcastic. But by slowly nudging it, slowly turning the temperature up, we don't realize, the average person doesn't anyway, doesn't realize they're slowly being cooked to death. Which also fits in with Charles Schwab's belief system and their 30-20 reverse the numbers agenda. They want to kill off the population. Well, Jesus is going to help us, help him do that by getting us out of here. We're going to appear to have died or disappeared or whatever. They don't care where we go. They don't believe in what we do. The aliens will have abducted us. And the people that are still left not having the Spirit of God will buy into that, because it's coming from the news media, coming from the government. It is the dumbest thing. They won't believe in God, but they believe in aliens. Okay. You need to, and I'm going to keep harping on this as we get apparently closer to the rapture than we've ever been before, which has been the case for as long as I've lived. You've got to be ready, prepared. I don't know how far we're going to go. Keep prepping. Buy extra food. The price of food is going to keep going up, so have a stockpile. I don't know how much time we've got, so you've got to prepare for 4 to 6 months of food shortages. Buy all the essentials that you know you're going to need, and then buy extra. You say, I don't have any money. If you can buy 1 can of beans, you can buy 2. It's a little late to go out and buy, 6 months or a year's worth probably, but set a goal to buy 6 months worth of food. And if you only get a week into it, you've at least got a week into it. Like I said, keep your gas tank full. Look around. There's apps out there for cheap gas. Don't drive out of your way. If you burn $20 worth of gas to go save 2 cents a gallon, that's not practical. Get familiar with your route. If you're going to work every day, know where the cheap gas stations are. I don't recommend charging it, so if you don't have the cash, just put in what you can. We can go back to when I grew up as a young man in my little hot rod, I couldn't afford to put a full tank of gas in. I'd put $5 worth in, and that would get me all week. Just put enough in, but try to keep it full. Save up for it. Make it a priority. Same thing with your market. I remember living at home and my mom going to 4 or 5 different stores during the day to get the food and all the things that she wanted. Go to your closest store and let you know you can't get it there. And then don't go to that store. Go to a one that's got everything in it and do all your shopping in one place. Start thinking about the economy of, spending too much gas money running around. Okay, how are we doing on time here? I can't see. The sun's in my eyes. Okay, I guess we need to do some verses to go with this. So let's look at that. With my topic, I have to do a lot of repeats, but a lot of people don't watch all the videos, so I keep hoping I'm going to get those that just dropping in to see how things are going. When I do something like this, I'm trusting God to give me the words to say, because I haven't any idea how to come up with a new topic every day. You may not be surprised, but I am totally surprised that I've managed to do this for as long as I have. When he first said he wanted me to switch from once a week to once a day, I kind of laughed and said, sure, yeah, it's up to you. I'll do whatever you want. Make sure I have something to talk about. And I'm surprised that every day I can do this. Now, I've cut my time down. I was doing 45 minutes or so. I'm down to about 30 minutes is my normal time, because uploading is still a problem, even with good internet. Where I'm at's good. I can upload it in 20, 30 minutes. I think I'm uploading one now. It might already be uploaded for tomorrow. This is the next days. I do have a moving day coming up in a couple of days, so I've got to have an extra one for that. So, thank you, God, for giving me the words to say and for people to tune in. Many of you have been very good at supporting me, and I'm very appreciative. I make it a policy not to recognize anybody who supports me. Going back to Jesus talking about the religious leaders of the time. They'd sound a horn before they'd pray. Jesus says they have their reward, but we need to be storing up rewards for heaven. So I'll never mention anybody. I'll mention you generally, and thank you from my spirit for helping. And you're storing up treasures in heaven by doing so. If you do want to help, you can look down in the description. I put all the comments down there. My son is still doing what he's doing over there in Peru. I worry about him being out of the country when things happen, so pray for him as well. If you can't donate, that's okay, just pray. Same for me, if you can't donate, just pray. I need prayers, because believe me, the enemy does not like what I'm saying. But Satan can go to hell for all I care. I can stand up to him just as much as I want, as long as I'm standing right next to Jesus, because he can't do anything. Now, if you wander off, you better be looking over your shoulder. One, for the creeping lion to come up and devour you. Another thing you can look for is to find out how far you're away from God. You need to be able to get back quickly if you're going to do something foolish like that. And just stay repentant all day. We're to pray without ceasing. So pray without ceasing. That doesn't mean get on your knees, rip your clothes, cover yourself in ashes. No, just talk. Adam and Eve walked the Garden of Eden talking to God. That was fun for him, fun for them. Their discoveries, whatever they were learning, he'd find out about them, their stories. He knows everything. You can't tell him anything. And he was conveniently not there when the serpent came in. Where was he? He's omnipresent. He couldn't go anywhere that they wouldn't know about. So where was he? We'll get to ask him some of these fun questions when we get up there. Actually, I think it'd just We're know-it-all. It's like the Matrix movie. Can you give me a lesson on how to fly a helicopter? And then they load the video and you know how to fly a helicopter. You've never done it, but now you know how to do it. Well, I think heaven's going to be like that. We get up there and our new bodies and our spirit up there will connect to the mainframe. All right, let's look at some verses and then I'll wrap this up. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless. Okay, I just have some simple Bible reading I want to do. We have a very happy future. We have to get through the book of Revelation. Now, if you play the old game Monopoly, you get one of those little cards out of chance that you go all the way past all the properties that have all the hotels on them from your opponents who you're playing against. You go all the way around, you go to home. You skip all those. That's what we're going to do. Jesus is our card to go and skip all the bad stuff coming. And it is coming. Comes one of our host families coming in here. If he decides to stop, it looks like he's going to stop, so let me go ahead and stop this and I'll get back. Okay, I'm back. It's always good to have a chance to talk to the local hosts. You can share tips and talk about the Lord as well. Okay, so I'm going to be reading out of the book of Revelation. One of the problems that people have with the book of Revelation is, one, it wasn't really studied. You didn't need to study it before 1948 or actually before 1967 because there was no place to put a temple, and it talks about building a temple. So people just, glance over it real quickly, teach it, and they used to teach it linear. And there are places where it's linear in the beginning, but most of it's just little vignettes, visions. And it's just basically a culmination of all the things that we have. We got Daniel in there, and host is going to go clean the restrooms, so we'll let him do that. Okay, so I'm going to be in chapter 17. And we've talked about this before. This is when bad stuff is really going on. We're into the bowls at this point in time. We've already been through the seals, the trumpets. Somewhere in here, Satan gets cast out. But what we have here, I'm just going to go back up. I was going to start. We're in 17. I was going to start. Where am I? Okay, let me just go back and start at the beginning of 17 so I can make sure context is always important. Satan pulled things out of context, and Jesus corrected him. So, verse 17, starting at chapter 17, verse 1. Then one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters. I've talked about her before. That's Mystery Babylon. It's Mystery, Babylon. There's a comma in there, so don't put them together. Come and I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication. She's going to be ruling the world. This is part of our New World Order, people. And this is who it is. Now, they give a name, Babylon, from the Old Testament Babylon. They were never killed. They were just dispersed. Who committed fornication with her, the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All these stupid new rules that are totally against God, totally against morality, totally against everything that's human, they're coming from the harlot, which originates from Satan. So he carried me in the way of the Spirit into the wilderness. I'm in the wilderness. And I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. We've talked about this before, but I want you to see where it's explained and not just hear me say it. 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. We'd have to do a study on that at some point in time. Adorned with gold and precious metals and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And on her forehead it was written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. How's that for a title? And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of saints. For those of us that don't take the first ride out, there will be tribulation saints, lots of them. But they're going to have to pay a price for missing the first ride out. I saw the woman drunk with the blood of saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I marveled with great amazement. Who's marveling? John, who wrote the book of Revelation. We read one of his letters just recently. He has the greatest connection with God. John was the one at the Last Supper leading against Jesus. Friends with Jesus. Can you imagine that? We only try. They actually lived it. Okay, so in verse 7, but the angel said to me, why did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her. They're looking at it real time at this point. Which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was, is not, and will ascend out of the bottomless pit. There is your Antichrist. Let's read that again. The beast that you saw was, he's going to be killed, so was not, and then will be taken over by the beast from the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit has the beasts that are so bad that God locks them up through all this time. Apollyon. He's going to come out, and he's going to take over the Antichrist that was killed and become the Antichrist. Will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition. And those who dwell on earth will marvel, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they see the beast that was, is not, and yet is. They're going to marvel at the Antichrist. They're going to remember our stories talking about Jesus coming back. The Muslims are looking for him. The Jews are looking for him. And those that we've been witnessing to will remember our stories. And they're going to see the Antichrist. And they're not going to be as studious as we are. They're going to be fooled. Jesus' first comments on the Mount of Olives. Don't be fooled. Don't fall for these false gods. But they will. Here's the mind which was wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains in which the woman sits. So Mystery Babylon is 7 cities. For those that say, well, it's got to be, the United States. Well, we're probably one of the 7 mountains, but we're not all of it. It's possible we could even have 2 of them if you're going to look at, the West Coast and the East Coast as 2 big controlling centers. It's possible. I see more of just being New York, our financial center. The UK is probably part of it, because we know King Charles is one of Charles Schwab's students. Okay. Yet to come, and when it comes, he must. Okay. 5 have fallen. There are the 7 kings. 5 have fallen. 1 is, the other has yet to come. So there's going to be 2 die. But one's going to come back as the Antichrist. And when he comes, he will continue a short time. The beast that was and is not is himself also the 8th, and is also the 7th, and is going to perdition. God's got assignments for all these evil people, places for them to go. Nice big warm barbecue. The 10 horns which you saw are the 10 kings who have received no kingdom yet, but they have received authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. It's describing our history so we can see it. The harlot's in place. The Antichrist is there, working with her. We have 10 kings right now working. Where are they? We don't have names yet. Sort of. They are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. If we go back, we can see that the beast is the Antichrist. They will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and those who are with him are called chosen and faithful. And he said, the waters which you saw where the harlot sits are peoples, multitudes of nations and tongues. So it's not just one country. It's multiple countries. That's the harlot. The beast, these will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh and burn her with fire. The Antichrist, eventually when the harlot is done setting up the world, will say, thank you very much, I don't need you anymore, and kill her. So the world's going to be in desperate states because the harlot that's been keeping everything going is going to be gone, and the Antichrist is going to come in and say, worship me. That's the end. Okay. Eventually, we're going to get into 18 if you wanted to keep reading, where Babylon falls. They're getting ready for the final return of Christ. The beast will be dealt with. But the Babylon's going to fall in 18. If you go across to verse 9, it talks about the kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her. Their free ticket to ride is gone. And the Antichrist does not want to share. He will use those 10 kings. I think that's where I'm going to stop here, but I mean, we're at 17 and 18. 20 is where the tribulation starts. I mean, not with the tribulation, but the 1,000-year reign starts, the millennium. So there's not a whole lot left by the time we get to this point. We're seeing the destruction of those that have been destroying the planet. So 17 is a good read to read through 17 and 18. You start seeing them fail. And it explains itself so that there's no problem. And we see another white horse in 19. And the beast and his armies are defeated in 19. God, I hope we can watch all this stuff. I really do. All right. Stay focused. Prep. Be ready. I don't know how long we're going to be. We're going to be out of here quickly, in the twinkling of an eye, because there's going to be a need for us to be out of here quickly. Revelation 12. Satan comes for us, to kill us. This is not what happened during the time of Jesus. This is prophecy. Everything in the book of Revelation was looking forward. So we're not into the everything in the book of Revelation has already happened mode. And if you believe that, find another channel, and I will gladly shake your hand when we get to heaven in the pre-trib rapture. But we haven't got anything to talk about, because everybody that I've talked to who believes that it's either happened or that we're post-trib rapture, it is so ingrained into them, they don't even want to talk about it. So I won't even debate. It's all here, plain and simple, explained by God where it needs to be. And yet people are getting this wrong. We will be protected all the way through, whatever situation is. I'm pre-trib. We're coming up on the tribulation because the harlot is ruling right now. And we have 10 kings forming, out of which one of them will be the Antichrist. That you can guarantee, because it's written right there where we read. The Antichrist will be one of the 10 that are not quite kings, but given the authority. So there will be important people, and the Antichrist will be one of them that's going to work with the harlot. So we're going to know who the Antichrist is, but he's not the Antichrist yet until he's killed and taken over by the Polyon. Then he becomes the Antichrist. Hitler in his early years wasn't the Antichrist, little a Antichrist. He was just crazy, had dreams and visions of what he was going to do and how he was going to get there. God's always looking for someone to join his team that wants a positive outcome. Satan's looking for recruitment on his team too. Choose wisely. Choose the wrong cup, and you've seen the movie. Okay. Blessings, everyone.